Hey, manifestors, how's it going? This is Tarkon, back with another video. And I thought I'd do something a little different today. Sometimes instead of just replying to all the comments, which honestly, guys, when I don't, it's not that I'm lazy. Well, I am lazy. I don't like to type. It's not that I don't like your comment or anything like that. It's just that, sometimes I sit down and typing is just one of my least favorite activities, which is why I also switched my coaching to a recorded package rather than a typed email package, which I used to do. But I'll tell you something. I'm just one of those people who does not like to type. So why would I do it? Okay. But there's some funny comments and I thought it'd be fun to do a little video, just to go through some of these. And, I want to say something right off the bat. There was one comment that I removed and I'm going to do that from time to time. And it's no offense to you, but there was a comment where somebody misunderstood what I said in my last video when I spoke about that person regarding a certain election 4 years ago. And they took offense and seemed to think that I was criticizing a certain individual. I'm not here to criticize anybody or to support one political affiliation over another. This is not a politics channel, okay? If you want that kind of content, there's plenty of stuff like that on YouTube for you to go to. This is a channel about manifesting and creating your own reality. So we're not going to encourage comments and any ideas that have to do with looking at the outer reality and thinking that solutions to things are out there, okay? We're seeing way too much of that right now in the world. If you want to look at something, then look at how that is not working for anybody right now. I don't care which flag you're flying, which banner you're marching under, which color you're marching under, either side. I don't involve myself in that kind of stuff. Okay? I don't like politics. I think it's low vibe, low energy stuff for people who don't understand their own power and want to continually put their power in the hands of other people, which is just the same as manifesting a relationship or an ex and thinking that they hold the key to your happiness or the key to your safety or the key to your prosperity. Nobody else holds the key to that. I don't hold the key to your happiness or prosperity or safety. You do. All right? And that's what this channel is about. And if you come here and you don't get that still after all the videos I've done, then maybe it's not for you right now. Maybe this is not the path for you right now. Maybe you should go back out there and shout at people and do this and get involved and try to push and manipulate the reality around you, which is nothing but an illusion. But if you can't wrap your mind around that concept right now, don't try to force it. All right. This is not a criticism for anybody who does do that, who does get involved in those things. There's a place and a time for that. This is not it. Okay. This is not the channel for that. My point in bringing that up in the last video was to illustrate a point, which is to say precisely what that comment, and I'm not going to repeat the comment or anything like that, but precisely what that comment was kind of highlighting and illustrating is that the more you focus on the problem, the bigger the problem gets. Now, whether you support a certain person or don't support a person, either way, whichever side of that you're on, you're engaging with the illusion out here, and you're thinking that the solutions are here, the solutions are there, or that these people are the problem, or those people are the problem. We're not doing any of that. Because we're here to go beyond all that nonsense. Okay? Because look how well that's been working for us. As a society, as a culture, as a species on this planet. How long have we been doing this stuff? And maybe a lot of you think that this is just about getting to win the lottery or getting that ex back. But you don't understand yet that it's about much more than that. This is about a complete, utter lifestyle change. A complete change in the way you look at things, you look at yourself, you look at the world, you look at the very nature of reality. Okay? And once you go down that rabbit hole, guys, there's no way out. Okay? There's no way back. Understand this. A lot of you watching this channel right now are sort of, you're peeking into the rabbit hole. Yeah, that's interesting. And you're seeing some cool shit down there, but then you're thinking, well, maybe what else is down there? And you slip a little further. At some point, you're going to realize you're so deep down the rabbit hole, there's no other way to look at reality anymore. There's no other way to look at yourself anymore. But that's a good thing. But there's going to be a little bit of a moment of maybe some turmoil, maybe a little bit of, self-doubt, but also certainly panic a little bit. When I first started on this path years ago, it both made me feel extremely empowered and extremely terrified because I understood for the first time that I could not blame other people anymore for my problems, for my situations in life, I had to suddenly take full responsibility because there was just no other way to look at it, you see. There was no other way to see it than to say, I created this stuff. I'm the creator. Once you accept that as being truth and fact in yourself, then all this other stuff that we're talking about right now, and the people out there, the brouhaha and the chaos and the shouting and the this and that, they don't know that stuff yet. Okay? So here we are learning this stuff, and I'll tell you something. If it's not for you, this message, then that's fine. Take it somewhere else. Go somewhere where you can engage in that stuff. At some point, you'll come back to this material, and you'll understand it, but maybe this is not your time to do it. But I'm not a fan of censoring comments, but there have been some comments over the months too of people being very negative, dumping on other people's when I read comments or emails from people dumping on them, well, they don't understand this and they don't understand that. This is not a contest. And this is not this is not a political party. This is manifesting. This is reality creation. Okay? This is something that we all innately have and possess. So this isn't about camps. This isn't about flags and banners and marching and shouting. All right? We're not going to have that. And I'll tell you something. There are a lot of people who come to this channel who genuinely, really genuinely are doing the hard work to change and improve themselves and their lives and their experiences. And I'm not going to allow people to come in and comment and to dump on them or to negate what they're trying to do in any way. There's too much of that going on out there in the world. All right. And there's fewer and fewer places for people to turn to where they can have some hope. All right. Where they can hear a message of something to look forward to, something to live up to in themselves. All right. So this is, I actually hate this term, but I'm going to use it. This is a safe space for manifestors. Okay, guys. All right. So we're leaving that stuff out. I just want to say that before I get into this. So, Pandora Aquarium. I like that. Is that Pandora? It's like the planet from Avatar. I rewatched that the other day, and I want to live on Pandora right now. The funny thing is, 2 hours ago, I thought a new Tarkon video today would be great. I guess that was a happy manifestation. Thank you, Tarkon. I enjoy your videos. Lots of love to everyone. Thank you so much, Pandora. I always love comments like that. But I get a lot of these comments. I want to read that because I get a lot of these comments of people, and they always make me chuckle. I was just thinking, that I want another Tarkon video, and there it is, boom. And, there's always this element of surprise, like, wow. Well, yeah, you made it happen. You made it happen. You switched yourself into reality where Tarkon made another video in that moment or posted another video in that moment. You allowed it to happen. Why? Think about the attitude that you had. You had a joyful expectation of a video from me, but it wasn't going to ruin your day if you didn't get one. You see? That's the middle point. That's the sweet zone of manifesting where you want to be with everything. Especially the things that you want the most right now. You want to start treating them a little bit more like they're no big deal. You want them, but they're no big deal. That's the space you want to achieve inside yourself. Okay. So and I'm not saying it's easy necessarily, not in the beginning, but it is easier than you think. All right. It takes practice. So try to look at where you have these cool little manifestations, like with Tarkon posting a video right then when you're thinking about it, and understand that right there is teaching you, is giving you a lesson as to, how powerful you really are. And if you can do it for the simple little things, it's not that one thing is bigger than the other. Remember, I've said this a bunch of times. It's just that one thing you've made more important in your mind than another thing. You've made it bigger and therefore more unattainable in your mind than another thing. More difficult in your mind than another thing. That's the part that you got to switch around. That's the part you got to get rid of, this idea that your biggest desire, be it getting an X back or winning the lottery ticket, is somehow bigger, larger than manifesting something like Tarkon posting another video or getting a cup of coffee from somebody or getting a nice parking space. You see, once you understand that this is all the same to the universe, it doesn't matter one thing or the other, because the universal mind doesn't put any rank on your desires. You do that. The ego mind does that. Okay? So it's important to understand your motivations behind doing that, because if you think one thing is less attainable than another, more difficult than another, what that really means is that you have a belief going on inside yourself that says you can't have that thing, or you're not capable of having that thing, or things don't work out for you, or you're not deserving. That's what it comes down to. And once you reconcile that in yourself, then you understand, oh, it's just the same as everything else. It's just the same, getting a house and manifesting a house, just the same as manifesting a parking spot or a Tarkon video. All right. And once you get that, you go, oh my God, this stuff is so easy. Why was I ever worried about it? That'll be a great day. So, this one is from Mr. Hi, Tarkon. It's Mr. again. Great video. Thank you. I had a question. When it comes to dealing with guilt, shame, or anything like that, when it comes to manifesting an ex or a specific person, how do you go about doing it? And let's say some contrary thoughts do pop up. Does this affect the manifestation? Or can people have the perception that contrary thoughts, beliefs won't affect the manifestation? Kind of like making up their own rules for manifesting their ex or specific person. Sure, you can make up your own rules. If this is your creation and you're the creator, then of course you can make up your own rules. That's actually a very powerful thing to use. A very powerful method to use is to say, well, that just won't matter. I just decide that that won't matter. Absolutely. Again, if you make the guilt and shame and whatever that's based on, it sounds pretty heavy, but most likely it's not even as intense as you're making it out in your mind, whatever it is that you're referring to, whatever happened in the past with this person or whatever. But yeah, if you focus on guilt and shame, that's what you're going to get more of. More things to be guilty and shameful, feel shameful about. If you go, that's not a big deal, guilt and shame, that's just me offering resistance towards something, or for some reason, for whatever reason, but I don't have to do that. Okay, I don't have to focus on that. I can focus on the positive outcome that I'm after. Okay, so yes, of course, you make up your own rules if you want. If you want to make guilt and shame important, you can, and you're doing it already. So there you go. That's how powerful you are. You can switch that around at any time. Again, stop trying to chase away the negative thoughts. All right. This is a big thing that people get caught up on, is this idea that they learn about law of attraction and they're new to it maybe, and they hear a lot from other coaches, this idea of, no, you must not have negative thoughts. You must not have negative thoughts. Well, it's like that old thing, that old joke. Hey, don't think of a pink elephant. Okay. Stop thinking of pink elephants. Just stop thinking of pink elephants all day. What are you doing? You're thinking of pink elephants and trying to get yourself to stop thinking of them. And what do you get more of? Pink elephants popping up in your head. At some point, you're going to see a pink elephant, maybe in a magazine or on a label, maybe an actual pink elephant eventually down the road. But understand that what you focus on grows. What you remove your focus on withers. It fades. It becomes dormant. Okay. That's the only rule you got to follow here. So of course you can make up your own rules, because we're the creators of this. We're the manifestors. No one else is making rules here. We collectively made up the rules. Okay. But ultimately they don't come down to much of anything. All right. It really is so much about your it's all about your focus and where you choose to place your focus. And you'll see that when you choose to place your focus in one direction, you get more of that thing. If you take your focus away from another thing, you get less of that thing. It's really that simple. Thanks for that comment, Mister. Elaine. Tarkon is the true underdog of LOA coaches on YouTube. That's interesting. I never thought of myself as an underdog. The fact that his subscriber count isn't all that high makes me feel even more appreciative that I'm in on this email elite club, this small elite club. We are VIPs. Well, yeah, you are VIPs. I love that comment, and I'm reading it because I've gotten comments like that as well over the years. Well, the couple of years, I suppose, that I've been doing this, and I get a lot of, well, your subscribers should be higher. You should have way more. Your channel should be blowing up. And it's funny to me that people focus on that, because honestly, when I started this channel, I was just doing it for fun and just to have an outlet and to talk about something that I was interested in talking about. I didn't have a lot of people in my immediate vicinity, who are so into this stuff, that I was thinking about all day long and reading about every 5 minutes. And I thought, well, maybe if I start my own little community, I'll have more people around me and to communicate with who believe in this stuff. And of course, it turned into this sort of channel. And I'm actually surprised I have as many now as I do, and that people see, at least this many people, almost 3,000 people, do seem to like the cut of my jib and seem to appreciate my message. I think it's fantastic. I don't need 300,000 people or 3 million followers. I mean, I suppose it would be nice, but on the other hand, honestly, I'm a bit of a private person too. I don't know if I want that level of notoriety, but my philosophy is always this: if you're here watching this, then there's a reason for you, right? You manifested this video and all the other videos of mine. And sometimes, guys, I do sit down and I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. I'll be honest with you. But then as I hit that record button, suddenly something pops into my head. So I think you are all all communicating with me, like a Pandora Aquarium and the others. They go, I think you're all sending me little brain messages in a bottle. Please, Tarkon, talk about this. So sometimes I start talking about something and it just comes out. And, I think it's wonderful. So, my whole philosophy about this is if you're here, you're meant to be here. And whoever I'm doing this video for, it's going to reach those people one way or the other. Okay. I do ask people to hit subscribe. I'm going to do that right now. If you're watching this video and you haven't done so, I think a lot of people watch videos, they don't subscribe. They'll figure, I'll just search that person again. Subscribing does help the channel. It does help the channel be visible. It does help the message reach more people. But on the other hand, I just assume that it's going to reach the right people, and those people will be positively affected by it, and then they'll go on and pass it on to others. And therefore, we are going to build and grow this manifesting army. All right? Because we are the ones who are going to take over the world. In case you haven't gotten the news yet, it's us manifestors. It's us deliberate manifestors who are going to run this place very soon. All right? So we're building our ranks. Watch out, because lots of bombs of positivity and awesomeness coming your way. All right. Thank you for that comment, Elaine. And thanks for being part of the VIP club. I do appreciate you. All right. PeacefulFinn says, kudos for your Berlin piece on your wall. I think that's what you're talking about right there. Yeah, I like that thing. I just love also collecting these old kind of tin advertisements, posters. That's actually I think that's from an old poster from the Cold War period, the post-war period in Berlin. So the city was split up between the Allies, the United States, France, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union at the time. That was, of course, East Berlin. So there was this 4-sector city, is what it says below that in German. 𝗃-Sektoren-Stadt. So I'm not actually from Berlin. I'm from West Germany. I'm from Dortmund, deep in the West. Coal mining country and steel country, and brewery country. But, I like things like that. I've always been a history buff. In fact, I've thought about in the near future maybe starting a little history podcast, because, I don't only just talk about and think about manifesting, believe it or not. I have other interests as well. But that's one of them. I've always loved history, and especially that period of history is fascinating to me. So, thanks for noticing that, and appreciating that. Lean loves dancing. Hello. Thanks, Tarkon. Well, thank you. And you're pointing out, and I'm not going to go into you put some time stamps here, so I don't know what you're referring to specifically, because I don't remember what I said at minute 1:30 and minute 9:39. But you said something here. I'm still afraid that my SB's friend could die. It's like playing ping pong in my head. Well, and we've discussed this a little bit, and I think you've left some other comments regarding your friends or your specific person's friend, being in a dire situation. Let me just continue your comment real quick. First, I see the worst case scenario unwillingly, and then I force myself to visualize the best case scenario. Again, if you're doing that, I'm going to say this, you're pushing against the reality again. If you're trying to force yourself to have the best case outcome, what is it that you're actually focused on? All right. If you're chasing away demons, you're thinking about demons. All right. If you picture this person simply being healthy, and let it be okay if they're not in the moment, because everyone is on their own path as well. Okay. There is a point at which this person that you're referring to is choosing their path here. All right. And there's a lesson for them to learn that they have engaged in, on a spiritual level, on a higher level, willingly. All right. And that's not to say, we need to sort of get over this idea of victimhood and victimization. If we're going to really understand this stuff and really succeed at this stuff and really live our lives according to these principles of attraction and manifesting, we have to understand, and we have to get rid of the whole notion of I'm being victimized and things are happening to me that are beyond my control. Because if you're doing that, that's what you're saying. You're saying something else or someone else or another condition has control over me and over my life. So understand this. I want you to think about your motivations here, because you've engaged in this for a while now, this idea of saving your SP's friend who may be in some kind of critical condition. And I know from your comments in the past, there have been moments when that person has recovered or been better and then sort of got worse and then got better again, if I'm not mistaken. But I want you to think about something. Why is it so important to you? And not beyond all the sort of the altruistic kind of reasons. Of course, I would want somebody to be healthy and to be okay, and to be healed from their sickness. But understand too, there's another thing going on here. There's layers here. Okay, what's your motivation here? Because ultimately, what this comes down to, Lean, is the fact that you may have issues and resistance around your own idea of your own health and well-being. That there's a fear there but that's easier maybe to deal with another person's problem regarding that than your own. So we're always using things in life and ideas and objects and circumstances, especially things we desire the most and want to manifest the most, as symbols, as stand-ins for another idea that we're sort of after. Like I always say, if you want that relationship with that ex so badly, it's a stand-in for something else, something you want to feel, some state of being you're trying to achieve, or trying to chase away a certain way that you're feeling. Okay? So I urge you, if you really want to help that person, is to begin to look at it through the lens of, well, what does this mean to me, and how does this apply to my own understanding of my well-being, my health? And what am I afraid of where that's concerned? Because the best way to help other people and the best way to help the world is to help yourself. It's to begin to heal yourself and to begin to reconcile those things that are going on inside of you, not in other people. Okay? And you'll see that can switch. Now, if you're aware of No Pono, this is an ancient, I think it was Dr. 𝗪𝗓. I don't want to say that wrong. I don't have the name correct right now. But the story, I think, is that this was a Hawaiian, I think he was a psychiatrist or something like that. Back in the 60s or 70s, he was put in charge of an institution for the criminally insane, something like that. But when he took it over, the place was a mess. The grounds were run down. Nothing was growing. There were constant violent interactions between the inmates and the guards, the people in charge. He took over this kind of mess. And as the story goes, and I'm paraphrasing here, guys, that he just locked himself in his office. Instead of doing anything, reading all the case files and trying to figure out and coming up with a plan and whatever, he simply would come into work every day, lock his office door, sit in there, and repeat Ho'onopono, which is an ancient Hawaiian technique for stress relief and things like that. So, and it's very simple. You simply repeat, I just drew a blank. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. That's the way it goes. Okay. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Now, you may be asking, who am I thanking? Who am I saying sorry to? It doesn't really matter. You don't have to address it to anyone in particular. When I started practicing it, I was addressing it to myself. Because I realized that the things in my life that were giving me so much trouble and pain, I had created. But I created them not because I'm bad or I'm trying to dump on myself, but just because I didn't know any better. Okay. I didn't understand yet what I was doing. So, I was acknowledging to myself, hey, I understand that these things came about because of my own ignorance about how things work, but I'm forgiving myself and I love you. And, I'm thanking myself for having the patience with myself and for giving myself the opportunity to even have challenges in my life and to acknowledge them, because that's what drives us forward. That's what gets us to grow. So after, I think, several weeks of doing this doctor started noticing that things were just kind of healing on their own. Things started growing on the grounds again. The gardens started becoming more lush. People started getting along. The guards and the patients who were interred there started sort of magically getting along. It seemed like magic, but he would just do this relentlessly every day. And I think I'm going to try to get his name, Dr. 𝗪𝗓. I think if anybody knows for sure, please leave it in the comments. People can go find out. I think there is an interview with him out there where he explains it a lot better than I'm explaining it. But the idea here is that he understood that it wasn't about going in there and trying to get them to change and get these people to dialogue and get this and get some gardeners out there, that he understood from his perspective that he had fogged up his own internal mirror, you see. And the mirror being the reflection, being the external reality that he was just being reflected back to him. So all he had to do was clean the mirror, just wipe the mirror clean. And he did so by reconciling the resistance he had in himself, that he was doing this basically to the people in his personal physical reality, not in that sense, but by actually having that resistance going on inside of him, that's where he needed to start, at the source here, you see, to reconcile. And then once he reconciled and untangled all that, the reflection was able to be a lot cleaner, you see. So ask yourself, is your mirror fogged up here? And why is it fogged up? And what is it inside yourself, the resistance you have around the idea of well-being and physical well-being, that is being reflected back to you through this person that you're trying to heal? But understand that what this is really about is you needing to heal yourself. And once you do, you'll see an improvement there as well. But don't start there, start here, you see. All right? I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps. Todd Breitenstein, or maybe in English pronunciation, Breitenstein. The first step to recovery for an addict is realizing they have a problem. Well, I don't disagree with that. The first step to taking control of your life is realizing you already control your life. Great tough love video. Thank you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, I want to say, I want to reiterate, of course, it starts with understanding where the resistance is. That helps. But once you do, don't try to undo the resistance. Like I always say, this is where you go the other direction. All right. Oh, I have resistance around the idea I think things don't work out for me. Well, now I'm going to focus on everything that is working out for me. And the more I do, the more I see evidence of things working out for me. The more I see things having already worked out for me that I didn't see before, because how could I see that since I was focusing on the level of things not working out? I couldn't see the things that were working out. But now I pivot, you see. I switch over to the idea. I'm going to start practicing the idea, and I'm going to get into the addiction of seeing things working out for me. And then the more and more and more I do see things working out for me until I understand and realize, oh, this is how it could be all the time. All right. Yeah. So absolutely. First step is understanding it, but that's where it ends. Okay. Don't engage and start to go through, okay, I'm going to go through my childhood and dig up every little thing, in the basement there. No, you don't need to do that. All right. This is like kind of where I personally think, psychiatry has gone a little far off too much in that direction of people going for 30 years talking ad infinitum about how they were embarrassed by their gym teacher in sixth grade. All right. You understand that you can switch your focus at any time. And it just takes practice, because if you're used to focusing in a negative way, you practice that as well. Maybe you weren't aware that you were practicing, but you did. At some point, it wasn't easy for you to do that. So now it doesn't feel easy for you to just switch. That's okay. Do it anyway. All right. Do it anyway. Even though it's difficult, it's going to get easier. Practice the new habit. Thanks, Todd, for that comment. Faith Self-Love. Great name. Oh, okay. Hi, Tarkon. I've been thinking to do coaching with you for a while. Do you offer phone or Skype coaching, or is it just email for now? Well, it's just email, and then let me elaborate on that a little bit. It's email that you send me. You send me a very detailed email, and what I do is I go through that in an audio recording, which is usually between 2 and 4 hours. Somebody asked me that the other day too. I'm going to answer your email shortly, but usually what that is about is I go through your email in very detailed fashion, and I kind of am able to. The more detailed you are in your email, the more I'm able to really look at kind of where your mindset is and where you're placing your focus, because it's difficult for us to see it ourselves. Okay, and a lot of times this is, I think, what a coach can do for somebody, is to be able to show them a perspective on their own story that they're not able to see because they're so involved in it, right? They're putting themselves so much at the center of it that they can't really see the forest for the trees. But as a coach, I can see that because I'm not so emotionally involved in your personal story, and I can see all the similarities in all the personal stories. That really, guys, it's so funny to me that everyone thinks they have a special case. We don't. We're all struggling for the same things, and we're all after the same things. So what I'm able to do for you is to look at that email and to really take things apart and to really look between the lines and to offer you a different perspective on how you've been looking at things that can hopefully open your eyes to that, so that you can then reconcile it and go, oh, I see. I've never looked at it from that angle. I've never realized I was doing this and that and the other thing. And hopefully you can use that again and again, because these audio recordings will be available to you forever. And only you will know about them, because I have a special platform where I upload them, and it's just me and you that know that they exist. unless you feel like sharing them with other people, but that's of course up to you. But the reason I don't do live coaching, one of the big reasons is my schedule just doesn't allow for it right now, to be honest with you. It's very tough for me to keep those kinds of appointments that are like, hey, let's meet on Skype at 3 p.m. on Thursday. I just kind of right now, other things that I'm doing involved in, it's all just kind of all over the place at the moment. So I'm not very structured where that kind of stuff is concerned. That's just kind of who I am. So I'm much better at saying, okay, give me a week to do this and then I'll do it. All right. And I'll respond to what I'm seeing. Another thing reason that I don't do it, guys, the live Skype or phone thing, is because I tend to find people want to turn it into a therapy session, and then they want to sit and talk about all their problems. I'm not a therapist. I'm not here to let you vent. Okay, that's not my idea. The only venting I'm going to let you do is to write me that very detailed email with your story, but then I want you to stop focusing on those things, and I want you to start focusing on what it is you want instead. And it's very difficult to always redirect people in a live session because I know that's what you guys want to do. All right. It feels nice. I get it. It feels good to talk about yourself and your issues and what you're thinking about. But here we're trying to achieve something bigger. We're trying to go beyond that. And I'm really trying to redirect you into another direction, into another type of thinking, looking things from a different angle. So I don't want to encourage somebody to get on a Skype camera and then start going off for an hour about how everything's going sideways in their life. Okay. I'd have to constantly interrupt you and go, no, stop. So I don't want to encourage that. And I find it much easier to be able to just have that kind of interaction where, you're telling me your story and then I'm going to record and you have this sort of, you have to kind of just sit there and listen to me talk. Okay. That's, let me just put it as honestly as possible. It's forcing you to sit there and listen to me talk. All right. Instead of constantly interjecting with yes, but this, because I don't want you to do the yes, but stuff. I don't want you to keep going back to, but this isn't working out, but that isn't working out. No, I'm going to tell you, stop looking at that. What is it you want instead? What is it you want instead? What is it you want instead? Focus on that. So that's the reason I've been very resistant. And I've had a lot of people ask me about that. Why don't you do Skype and why don't you do live sessions? Other coaches do it. It might work fine for other coaches. It doesn't work for me very well. And that's not to say that someday maybe I won't do something along those lines, but honestly, guys, it probably won't happen. So this is kind of the best way for me to approach this right now. That I think it's been very effective for people that I've worked with so far. So give it a shot, okay? And thanks for that question. And thanks that gives me an opportunity to kind of say that on video too to everybody else watching. So that's a good thing. 𝗙𝗃𝗵𝗶𝗴. Thanks, Tarkon, for this video. So I've had an exam for police, but got a low score. They told me how this low score, with this low score, you very, very probably won't get further. In this case, I should just focus, feeling and imagining on succeeding. And then Lean loves dancing replied yes, and that's a great answer. There's nothing more for me to say. No, except this, of course, in lieu of what I've said and said in other videos. Yes, look, again, if for whatever reason you got the low score, and we could think of a myriad of reasons that you got a low score. Maybe you were nervous about it, so you didn't get a lot of sleep the night before, so you were stressed out, and then your mind stopped working. You forgot all the answers you had studied. Maybe you didn't have time to study. But ultimately, all that is just la 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 la. What it comes down to is that you have a belief going on that you can't do it. You have a secret belief going on. You have a what's the word? See, my mind isn't working right now. An unfriendly belief, I want to say. A limiting belief, that's what I'm trying to say. An unfriendly belief. You have a limiting belief bouncing around in there that you're not good enough for this. Okay? And that's not, now you might go, but Tarkon, I believe in myself and I'm doing this. I'm not disputing any of that, okay? I'm not disputing that you have confidence, maybe even. But see, the thing about these limiting beliefs is we don't often know that they're bouncing around. And the only way we can know that they're bouncing around is to see the results we're getting from external circumstances and physical realities, to be able to say, well, why didn't that go the way that I had imagined it or the way that I was doing? There must be some limiting belief going around. So understand that, if we say that everything is a reflection of your inner state, everything in your physical reality, that means even the people and the way in which they show up, in other words, what they say to you, how they behave towards you, what attitudes they have towards you, are always a reflection of something you have going on inside yourself. And usually that is a limiting belief, okay? So this person telling you, hey, you won't get any further, you're not good enough for this, is just an outcropping, a symbol of you telling that to yourself. So there's a part of you that is afraid that you're not good enough for this. And therefore you manifested a situation where oh, look, there's evidence that I'm not good enough. You see how this works? This is how people approach, this is how it happens and how we reinforce these limiting beliefs, because we think that the external circumstances are proof or evidence of us being right in what we're believing about ourselves. But they're actually just a manifestation as a result of us believing that in the first place, you see. So you have to reconcile that limiting belief in yourself. And how are you going to do that? The way you do that is to, first of all, look at all the places and all the times in your life and all the areas in your life where you've succeeded, where you've done well, where you've excelled, where you're amazing at, and what you're doing every day, keeping score. Now, see, I was going to do a video about keeping score. You shouldn't keep score so much of your manifestations, but you should keep score of the things that are working out for you. You should keep score of all of your accomplishments, you see. Highlight those, because the moment you say, whenever somebody comes up to me and tells me I'm an asshole, then I have to stop and think, oh, in what ways am I thinking that I'm an asshole? Because that's all that person was doing, was just telling me. They were just using their voice, their body to approach me to tell me what I've been telling myself this whole time. So some part of me thinks I'm an asshole. I'm not worthy of having people treat me well, or whatever it is. I'm not a good person, Understand that when these things happen, this is an opportunity for you to go, oh, wait, I've got a limiting belief going on. What is it? Oh, I'm not good enough. I can't achieve this. This is too much for me. This is, other people are better than me. Why, I'm a fraud, right? What is that imposter syndrome? Okay. Everybody suffers from, that's just a limiting belief you have bouncing around. Okay. So once you understand that, then it makes it easy. Because then it's not about, oh, I got to study more, I got to work harder, I got to try harder, which is usually the result this is usually the conclusion that people draw from situations like that. Oh, I just got to try harder, work harder, push harder. And then usually it doesn't really work out that well, all right? Because this is how we're taught, to always try harder, push harder. But from a manifesting standpoint, this is an opportunity to just go, oh, hey, I've got a limiting belief going on. What's the belief? Well, let's reverse construct it here. Well, if somebody's telling me I'm not good enough for this exam and to be a police officer, then I must have the belief that I'm not good enough, that I can't achieve things that are challenging, that other people are better than me, that I'm just a phony and a fraud, and why would I ever think that I could do this? You see? So understand that you've got that practicing, and maybe you don't know it because you don't know it consciously, you're not consciously aware of it, but once you understand, once you connect the external physical manifestation with what could that belief system be. In other words, remember what Bashar said, in any circumstance like that, you ask yourself simply, what would I have to believe in order for this manifestation to come into my life? What do I have to be believing? What do I have to be thinking about and focusing about subconsciously all the time in order for this to manifest? And then you've identified your limiting belief. And then once you've done that, you've practiced the opposite belief. You go, well, I am good enough. Of course I'm good enough. I mean, I got so far as to take the test. That's good enough. And so what about all the other areas where I've excelled and succeeded and done well? So you start making a list of those things. Then you start seeing evidence there. You're giving yourself evidence of all the times that you have been good enough in your life. And then you do this daily. What did I do good today? What did I do today that I excelled at? You think of all the times people complimented you or gave you an attaboy or a pat on the back and said, good job. You remember all those things. You think of all those things. You start bringing them into your awareness so that you start canceling out that old negative belief, because you're feeding the positive belief, the opposite positive belief, which is going to eat that old belief, okay? And it's going to dominate. And that's how you do it, all right? So don't let anybody tell you, don't get so enamored with the extra person on the set of your movies telling you can't do something, you probably won't be a police officer. You just ignore them. Understand this, because you're a manifester and you understand this. You don't react in that way to that circumstance and that manifestation. You simply go, oh, I have a limiting belief. What is it? Oh, this is it. Okay. Canceling that out now. Canceling that out now. Canceling that out now. By practicing the opposite belief, by looking for the evidence of that opposite belief. I'm canceling that out. I'm now convincing myself that I can do things, that I am capable of succeeding and doing whatever it is that I want to be doing, including passing this exam and becoming a police officer. Okay? So that's really it, guys. I want to thank you for listening and watching. I want to thank you for commenting, because, you know, I used to do more of these comment videos. I think maybe I'll do them more frequently again. And there, you know, I want to get back into the podcast and everything too, but that's all for down the road for now. But in the meantime, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, I am going to ask you to do so now and hit that bell notification, so you can be updated when I upload new videos. Also, if you want to leave me a tip, a little small donation, everything helps, and I love all you guys who've done so in the past. You're amazing, and it really means a lot to me. And it helps this channel. It does. And you can do so by going below there's a PayPal and a Cash App link to do that in the description box. And if you do want coaching, there's a link for that down below as well. All right. So thanks again for watching, guys. And until next time, I'm Tarkon, and I wish you happy manifesting, and bye-bye.